Hey everybody, this is Louie. Welcome to the first complete playthrough, I hope, of Decisive Campaigns Barbarossa. I did a little introductory video, and I am going to also write a review, but this is what I hope to be the first of a long series of videos covering this. This, of course, covers the entire Operation Barbarossa across the entire Eastern Front for the first part of the first part of the Russian campaign, which was Operation Barbarossa. Now, unlike the other campaign games, decisive campaign games, this one has added in a whole series of political, personality-driven, almost psychological decisions that you have to make. As you can see here, I'm in Berlin at a conference with the Fuhrer. I've been called there, and I've decided to disagree with the Fuhrer. Not necessarily very healthy, and it costs me political points. All of these decisions, as you can see, cost political points. They make some people happy. They make some people, they don't really care, and then some people get mad at you, and when people are not happy with you, you can't do certain things in the game. And so here, for example, I'm picking the advance of one of the army groups, the main path of advance, where the supplies will go. And of course, if you choose something that the army group center commander doesn't like, he might get a little mad at you. Here I'm picking Minsk, Smolensk, because I think that's the direct line to Moscow, and I'm a Moscow guy. I think the only chance the Germans ever really had in Barbarossa, if they had one at all, was to capture Moscow in that first year. The psychological and political shock of that might have done it, and I think they really had no chance at all past that. And I don't think that was a very big chance either, but, maybe. Here's a decision you have to make about the rail construction guys, the guys that have to convert the rail, because Russian rail was wider than European rail, so you have to do all that. And as you watch this video, I'm doing this voiceover later, by the way, because I was in a bad spot when I played this first game. A lot of background noise outside, so I'm just going to redo this. And you will notice that I'm going to make mistakes because I'm very new at this game. But I really like it because there is added depth to it that the other decisive campaign games didn't have. They were good, but I think this game has the potential to be great, and past that, has the potential, if they take this concept and expand it and explore it, they could really come up with something really great. Now, here's at the end of the turn, that first special turn you get. Nothing happens, no fighting, but you make all these decisions. Here's the Hitler's. Notice that he's got Moscow 4th, I've got Moscow 1st. Now I've got to pick command focus for each of the army groups. You'll notice von Rundstedt, I get a little bit of a bonus there. I've got to decide what to do with siege artillery and all kinds of decisions that I have to make. So I go to the report tab, look at all these reports. What about the Romanian oil fields? Do I want to encourage people to do that, to get us some oil from there, or not? It's going to cost me, you see all the political points, 8 political points for that. If I encourage the Romanians to investigate expansion options, that's going to cost me 4. And if I don't upset them, it costs me nothing. Then again, I don't get any oil out of it either. I may not get any oil out of it no matter what I do, so it's a gamble, just like real life. And that's the thing I like about this, is it puts you, there you go. I didn't do much on that. It puts you in a position of having to make these decisions that real-life commanders made, which ticked some people off, which did affect the war. When you take that out of wargaming, what you're doing is you're able to do things that would have never happened in real life because of Hitler, because of this general doesn't like you, so he drags his feet, or he thinks you made a stupid decision, so he drags his feet so something doesn't happen. I mean, these things happen all the time in history, and we know it. And war games don't usually take that into account, but in this case, it does. Now, I've decided not to change the allocations for the army groups yet. You'll notice that it's pretty much set up as historical, and I'm leaving it there. And I just chose to continue the Luftwaffe fighting the air game for a while. That makes Goering happy, which, who cares? This guy is he's part of the nobility. He's a loser, so I'm picking the least painful option to get him to do something. Not upset too many people. And then there's this decision on security. Oh no, this is the nobility guy. And before that, it was the security divisions. So there's a lot of decisions you have to make, like a real commander. Now, obviously not as many, but I still think it's a good It's a good representation of the kind of things you have to deal with. No game is perfect. This one isn't anywhere close, I'm sure, but it does sort of give you a feel for it, and I think it gives you an added complexity to the game, and it makes replay better, they say. And I haven't replayed the game, so I don't know, but it makes replay better because these things change. And throughout the game, Hitler will change his emphasis. He wants you to go here instead of over there, like he said earlier, so you have to deal with all that. Now, here's the action cards. As with all the other decisive campaign games, you have a lot of cards you can play with artillery and the siege artillery and all these things that, again, you have to take into account that sort of represents what happens if a general goes here and does something. And so here I'm about to play the siege artillery card, and I am going to move the siege artillery up here so that when they arrive and get set up, it takes 4 days to get there. Then the next turn, they can bombard Brest-Litovsk and help us take them, because siege artillery removes the entrenchment or the fortification values of these things. Now I've got to select what card is going to have the offensive bonus. Now you'll notice the Panzer Group's not there because the general who's commanding Army Group North isn't happy with me. So he won't let me pick the Panzer Group, which of course I would pick if I had any choice. So short of that, I have to pick one of the regular infantry armies. Army Group Center. I'm going to pick who gets the emphasis there. Now there I can choose either man, I can't even talk, either Panzer Group. And so I pick the second one, and Colonel Guderian, because I've enjoyed reading Guderian's books many times. I think he was a very interesting character. And then Army Group South, I've got to pick which gets the offensive bonus. And you'll notice, again, no Panzer Group. So I'm going to have to choose something other than them. So I'm looking around, trying to decide which army I want to give the boost to, and I'm picking the 17th Army because I want to push through there to Lvov and shorten the supply train, because Army Group South has real supply issues. So von Rundstedt let me do that. I haven't really done anything with the transport because we're just getting started, so there's probably no need for that. And so I'm not going to do that. No need to rest and refit, obviously. And command, yeah, like I say, that's not really something I think I'm going to need to do. So I can close the cards category there, and I can come up, and I can go ahead and look around and decide what am I going to do. Now you can zoom in, scroll your mouse, if you use a mouse, which most of us do. And so now I've got to decide who I'm going to attack. Now in this game, in this whole series of games, the Decisive Campaigns, you click the enemy unit you want to attack, and then you can choose. There are several different ways to choose which units you want to attack, and if you attack from different angles, different sides, hex sides, you get a bonus. As you can see there, I'm getting no bonus because I can only attack through that one side. So the battle commences. You can see it playing out here. They both retreat. It shows you some casualties you take. And then you can, if you have enough points left, movement points, you can move your guys into that hex. And you see those little red arrows that pop up like right there? That shows now where they can attack from. So you can help see which way your unit. So you notice here I click all. That selects every unit that can possibly attack it. Then I click list. And if you click on these guys, you can take them out of the attack. Like if you don't want them to attack, because you don't want everybody to attack, obviously that's bad. You notice I get a 10% bonus because it's concentric. And here we go. And of course he retreats very quickly. And the guys in the hex that don't attack, they don't use up points. So then I've got them. They can do more later. So here we go, moving forward. You notice there, I moved the motorized guy up. I can move him even further. Of course, I'm trying to push into the Russian front through any holes I can make or find so that I can encircle, because that's the name of the game, right? You encirclement's it. And you'll notice the more units that go forward, the more intelligence assets I get. So it starts to fill in the blanks there, and you can actually see units that are there. Now, I don't know what kind they are, but I know they're there, so that gives me something. Here you can see that you've got all the information on your troops when you click on them, so you can keep track of supply and of how they're doing and all that. And there's the Totenkopf. Now here we go. I'm looking over here, and I'm going to click all, and I'm going to click the list again. There are other ways to do it, and I think later in this, if I remember correctly, yeah, there's some panzer divisions. I'll show you a kind of a way I finally remembered how to do it. Here we go. Here's the attack. Of course, this is the first game, so you do as the German, you get attack bonuses. Now you notice that red dashed line that goes up those hex sides there, just under the 11th Army Soviet Command. On the map, you'll see that line that runs east-west, and it divides Army Group North from Army Group Center from Army Group South. And the troops in Army Group North if they cross that boundary line, they get penalized. So if you cross your Army Group boundary line, you pay a price for that, which is very realistic. And it kind of forces you to organize your troops and do it in a way that might be better than, more realistic and better than if you could just move your divisions all over the place and do anything you want with them. That's clearly not an option in the real world. And this game tries to represent that. It's very simple. It's not complicated, but it does give you some restrictions, which in real life, there's all kinds of restrictions on military units, and there's all kinds of realities of supply and things that you just barely touch the surface on in our war games. So it's nice to see they're looking for ways to sort of represent that. I like that a lot. So that's good. So here we go. We're going to attack this guy. I'm trying to figure out, because I remembered something as I was playing this from the old games. I haven't played a decisive campaign game in quite a while, and I couldn't quite remember it. I'll figure it out here directly, if I remember correctly. For person my age, I may not. Now you'll see that this guy, oops, man, he could be attacked from all over the place. Notice the headquarters there. You do have to keep your HQs close to the units under their command, or they lose. They receive a penalty for movement and attack. Now look at this, man. Holy smokes! So we're gonna take some of these guys out. No need to attack with everything, but you want to attack with enough to obviously take the enemy out and get that bonus for concentric attacks, because that's 20% bonus. That's pretty good. So look at this. This guy had no choice. No chance. And here we are now. I don't know what I did. I pushed some button which dropped me all the way down south. Not even sure what that was. So moving up my units in the back. Here comes a panzer unit, motorized division. Here comes some infantry. The start of this game, as the German, you have a lot of troops. It's kind of nice. Later, of course, if you've ever played East Front games, you know that doesn't last forever. Unless you manage to win straight up, straight out, because, the Russians build up and the front gets wider the further east you go, so it gets pretty rough. And you can see the little bars on the counters there lets you know the relative strength and health of the unit. So you can see like 188th or 68th, whatever that is, infantry Russian division is with the 26 on it. It's down there, kind of got the blues, whereas the one on top of it, the 23rd, is green, so it's healthier. It has more points, movement and combat points left. And the trucks you see on the map there, those are representing trucks carrying supplies from the base, supply base, to the units involved. And that's another thing. Well, we'll talk more about supply in later videos, because this first one really, the first turn, it's not really an issue. But pretty quickly, it will become one. And so I need to look into that a little bit more before I play my next turn, because it will start to become one. And here I am trying to attack, and oh, there we go, I figured it out. So you can look at this, decide who you want to attack or who you don't want to attack. Notice when you put the mouse over it, you get all that information about that unit. One thing in this game, there are lots of tool tips. You put your mouse on something, it almost always will tell you something. And so you know what you get those dudes. So we go back. So once again, the Wehrmacht moves forward. And here we come. We're coming down here now to Guderian's 3rd Panzer Group. And all kinds of options. Of course, the thing is, on this first turn in Barbarossa, you want, as much as possible, to punch a hole and drive your armor through it. But, again, that is not always an option. So you have to sort of do the best you can. Like, look at this. This is all motorized in Panzer units. But, yeah, you got to do something. You can't, if the infantry can't make the hold, then maybe the armor can do it. So we drive forward. Again, trying to cut units off, slow units down. See if we can, of course, be a great thing if you can get to an HQ unit. You can see the Russian Third Army there is just 2 hexes away from that Panzer unit. So, that would be awesome. You destroy some of those. That's going to disrupt the enemy's ability to command and move and fight. So, definitely want to do that. 10% concentric attack here. So we're going to go, and those guys are broken. So basically, they just disappear. They're just annihilated as and boy, I can't even talk. I'm sorry. As an effective military unit, they have ceased to exist. Now there's another. I pointed at the screen like you could see that. There's. Oh, I need help, folks. There's another HQ unit there, but can't attack it. Not enough points left. So, all right. So here we go. We got some motorized guys now. As we are continuing to move up. You can see that this game has a lot of counters, and it has a lot of decisions. And I'm hoping, by the way, next time, guys, that you'll actually get the sound effects from the game. I hate not hearing, the marching and the combat sound effects. They don't really... I know some people find it repetitive, and I don't like listening to the music because that is repetitive to me, but I just think that it adds a little... I don't know, a little color to the game. So, and you can see there, I'm checking supply right there. You notice the green, but it stopped at that red line because supply does not go from one army group to another. So, there you go. So now down here, in Army Group South, as I believe we are right now. Oh, now we're back up into center. Nope. That's center. I'm sorry. Not south. My bad. You can see that there's plenty of people to attack. The question is, how do you do it? And how do you, make the optimal attacks so that you can push guys back and hopefully punch holes? Because that's really what you want to do. Yeah. Now, I disabled the HQ because normally you don't want your HQs attacking or fighting. I mean, maybe sometimes, but... obviously, that's not. Look at that, 39% concentric bonus. So this guy should be more pretty good. And then you can move forward. Oh, look, we can attack him again. There we go. So we're just moving guys up. Now there's another headquarter unit. So hopefully, we'll be able to knock some of these guys out in short order so that we can further disrupt the command and control of the enemy. Here we go again. With my HQ unit there. And we're going to attack. 10% bonus. And look at that. There he goes. He retreats. So that's good. Move them up. And you can, of course, move your HQs if they're in the front line with another unit or two and the units are strong. They're probably fairly safe. At least at this point in the game for the Germans. If you're, on the defensive, you might want to move back. Now, you'll notice here, the attack failed. Did not drive them back, but I felt like I just had to take the shot at it and see what would happen. We're going to move him over there. Move this guy straight forward. See if we can drive these guys back. That's a strong stack, you'll notice. And there the HQ unit does have a division to protect them. So we're going to attack. See what we can come up with. Nope, thought better of it. There we go. So, still got units to move. And one of the things which I should know in another couple of turns is if you can really punch through and drive deep in this game as you could historically. I have read online from some of the after-action reports on the Matrix game discussion boards that making big pockets with this game is really hard. It's better to make small ones. It'll be interesting to see how this goes and see how it compares historically. It doesn't feel to me at this point like you're going to have quite the freedom of movement with the Panzers that you probably did historically, but I don't know. So we'll just have to wait and see. And of course, they've already have a list of things which they're going to, little bugs and little misses and little things like that, which they are going to be fixing. And again, that's one of the great things about Vic, who designs these games, the Decisive Campaign games. Oh, there's the commanders. Oops, I didn't keep it down very long, but those were, you saw the commanders and the relationships under it. He does work hard on these to keep them updated, and I think that's great. Now we're getting the Panzers breaking out here a little bit and gaining some ground, trying to make some pockets, or the start of forming some pockets. Here we go, the motorized guys. Question is, is how far to go. You don't want to get cut off, don't want to lose supply, but you do want to go as hard and as far as you can and really threaten the enemy. So I'm trying to be wise but daring at the same time. I think as a Panzer Group commander, you just have to do that, because otherwise you're just not going to get anywhere. So we're moving these guys up, trying to protect flanks and punch some wedges deep into the enemy defenses so that we can, like I say, start making those pockets. And there's that line there. That is the line for Army Group South. And you'll notice that 30th tank is just barely in Army Group Center's area, just barely. And now he's retreated, and he's actually out of the area. Of course, the Russians didn't really worry about that. They had their own boundaries, of course. So you have to keep that in mind when you attack. You just can't grab units and attack anybody you want. Excuse me. But you have to, make sure that you don't get penalized by messing up those boundaries, which is, as I've said before, exactly what would happen in real life. So here we go, moving up the last of Army Group Center's reserves, looking things over, seeing how we're doing. Thinking about next turn. By the time I get back to this game, because real life got real busy, I'm going to have to look it over carefully to play out the next couple of turns. But I'm hoping that I can certainly do a better job than I have been. I've had to not only been busy with work, but I've kind of set up a little, I had this idea to set up a little, kind of like little recording studio sort of in my bedroom. And this is my first test with it. I had to buy a new mic and a table and all kinds of mic stand and blah, blah, blah. And you don't care, and I don't blame you. So now, Army Group South. We're going to attack these guys and try and drive up that road towards Lavaux so that we can shorten the supply, because you notice that the Army Group South, the supply line starts there in that city. You can see where the HQ is, but it's got to loop all the way up and around to get to the Panzers in the northern part of Army Group South's frontage, and they're going to run out of supply pretty quickly. So we've got to do something to shorten that supply line. That's another thing. The way supply is set up in this game, it's not just if you have an open line of hexes, you get supply. Supply runs best on roads. If you can't get to a road really quickly, you're not going to get supplies. Again, that's very realistic, especially in Russia, given the state of their roads, which the Germans, of course, if you've read any German memoirs or literature on the Russian front, you know they were appalled by the roads in the Soviet Union, particularly in 1941, when they didn't really know what they were getting into. And they just couldn't believe it was as primitive as it was. And then, of course, when the rains came, it went from bad to worse for them. So even having roads at that point could be pretty iffy. So here we are, trying to decide where we go, what we want to do. We've got to keep that boundary line with Army Group Center intact. We don't want to leave a hole there, because that's a classic military mistake, of course, is boundaries between units tend to be weak. So if you can attack your enemy at a boundary line, you can often punch through. And so I got to watch that. But we've driven these guys back. So I'm going to move up again. We've got to drive some wedges into it. See if we can hit this guy, because he's obviously very weak. So we're going to attack, and he retreats. Not dead, but at least we retreated him. Can't really follow up on him either. So he survives, I think. Let's see. Yeah, he survives, but he's been really damaged badly. So next, we got to look at what the infantry can do here to punch some holes, or at least drive them back and weaken them so the armor can come up and whack them. Here we go. Treated him nicely. So we're going to move on up. And again, you notice those red arrows that they're wedges, or whatever you call them, that show which way you can attack. That's helpful in figuring things out. You'll notice we got a ways to go to get to Lvov, so we're going to have to make some time here and punch through so that we can shorten that supply range. You'll notice that I'm not going to the all in the list thing now, because I finally remembered what it is if you click on a unit you want to attack and hit the space bar, it selects it. And it pops up down there under attacking units. So you can do it that way too. There's I think 3 different ways you can select units to attack in this game. So you have plenty of options. Just find the one that works best for you. And like here, I picked all because I wanted everybody to go for it. And yeah, sure. So again, trying to drive in there. There's Viking, or Viking, and pronounced Viking, I know. And then the 25th Motorized, 14th Panzer. We're going to bring up our Panzer group now and see if we can, again, push, drive a hole. And so what we're going to do here is we're going to really whack these guys and try and drive down. Do some encircling, threaten Lvov, and see what happens. We pull or drive forward. Look at that, 131st Motorized, 52 pointer. That's a big boy. So we want to look at what we can do. He's weak, so maybe we should hit him. I do. And he retreats. So once again, we've got an opening there. We could drive a wedge in if we want to. Of course, you don't want to get too exposed either, but on the other hand, yeah, this is Operation Barbarossa. You've got to take risks. So I do. And we'll see in the next few turns how all this turns out. Gonna try and decide if I want to strengthen that. And yeah, I did make some mistakes moving units here. Just selected the wrong thing or did the wrong thing because I am just still learning the system. But the nice thing about this game is if you watch the introductory videos that come with the game, which, by the way, I haven't even mentioned yet, but on that Help tab up on the top of the screen, you've got reports, cards, strategic maps, help. They come with videos. Now, I couldn't get the videos to run inside the game, which you're supposed to be able to do, but you can just navigate to where they are on your hard drive and play them, and they're really excellent. Especially the guy who does them, he has a bird chirping in the background, which I thought was really cute. But they will really help you grab the basics of what's going on. It helped me a lot because I just didn't have time to read the manual. I don't have the printed manual, which is like gigantic and beautiful from all I hear, but I don't have that. But watching those things, I think if you watch those videos, you've got enough to go, and then from there, you can do what I'm hoping to do, and that is, check the manual out when and if I need. And of course, you can always learn a lot on the discussion boards at Matrix as well, and Slytherin as well. So encourage you to do that if you don't want to. Now here I go. Notice I'm checking these guys out, deciding who I want to attack and who I don't. And looking it over. Finally, I just think, well, what the heck, let's go do it this way. Haven't done it this way before. But, I mean, recently, I did earlier. Now I'm going to do it. And I got a 4% concentric attack bonus, which isn't great, but it's not bad. And should retreat. Looking them over, trying to decide what I want to do. Now, whether that's a good idea to pull the 11th Panzer down there instead of having them follow up, yeah, it's a good question if you're asking. I don't know. But we're within 4 hexes, let's say, of Lvov. And that's where we got to go. Once we get there, then we can open up the rail net, and it's going to make supply maneuver much easier. I keep clicking these because I want to move him forward, and finally figured out how to move that guy forward. This guy, one of the guys in there, he'll go backwards, not forwards. It must be that one. So good, because I want to keep those front lines secure, take risks, but I don't want to get caught short and get spanked. That would not be good. So we're going to come on down here and see if we can maybe take that stack with 3rd Cav in it and whack it around. Now down here, we got the Romanians, and I was just checking on them to make sure that I couldn't actually move them or use them, and sure enough, you can't. Not this first turn, because as historically they start later. So, but I just wanted to make sure and look it over. So that's the map down in the very southern, the Romanian front that we don't have to mess with for a little while. So now we're going to move our HQs up. Again, you want to keep your HQs. When I did that, that's the first time I noticed that Panzer Division sitting under there. You can see I wasn't really as prepared as I should have been. So I thought, what the heck, let's stick him out on a limb and hope for the best. I think he'll be okay. Plus, he's threatening that HQ, which I really like, because I want to bang up their HQs as much as possible. And here we go. And I retreated him, didn't destroy him, but I retreated it. So that's good. And you'll notice too on the bottom of the screen now, you don't get all those pictures and all that information. You can shrink that down, or you can pull it up. And I have a small screen. I have a laptop small screen, so I wanted to maximize the amount of screen space for the map, but I did miss having all the information at your hand. So it's kind of a, just a personal preference thing, how you want to play it. But again, the game is flexible enough to let you do that, which is one of the things I really like about this game. Okay, I think I'm pretty well done, so we're going to let the Russian AI play. Now, I have clipped out some stuff here because the AI is a little slow on my little computer. And so I didn't think you would want to stare at the map and see nothing. But this gives you an idea of what the AI does. And it's, I have to say, just judging it on the first turn, it's been constructed, it seems to me, pretty well to defend certain points, but to avoid encirclements. Look at that. It's pulling out in a hurry, which is kind of interesting. I mean, it's smart, but down on the Romanian front, it's kind of... I have a little issues with that historically because, Stalin at first, of course, wanted to attack and didn't want to retreat and whatever. And I don't know that it should retreat so quickly. I would think maybe not freeze the units on the first turn, but restrict them. I think that would be more realistic. And you notice here they actually attack the Romanians there, while further south, it's like they're bailing out. And here they go. I was going to say running for the border, but they're actually running from the border. So no Taco Bell for them. But here we go, end of turn. And you can see that you go through this little, I didn't trim this off, maybe I should have. But it just goes through all these different things for you. Get to look at a nice picture there. And then it comes up pretty quick here. You always get a little bit of news here from Franz Halder's diary. This tells you some things that you need to address, like the theater artillery support, the Luftwaffe, how your relationship is with Lieb and all those guys. And there's the Panzer Group summary, you can look over. You can read in those little question marks. You put your arrow on that. You put your mouse on that. You get more. And there you go. I clicked that button, shrank that down. Just wanted to give you an overview as we end this video of what the front looks like. And that's just about it. So thanks for watching, you guys. We're going to get more of these out as soon as I can so that you can become familiar with this great game from Matrix. And if you're a World War II nut, and especially an East Front guy, I think this game really demands your attention. So thanks for watching, everybody. Take care, and I'll see you later.